fáilteam chum fáilte mhór raibh an mBille seo níl geisteach bille gear le 6 mhíor agus is níos lú ná seach leathnach. So gur míle mágad a sucht mhuircuid oibre agus is bille dearfacha tá sé beagán í mbaol ach chum fáilte raibh agus bun agus bar an scéal ní bhéic daltaí íoc as blian omláin. Ní bhaid siad acig íoc as an tréimhse acadúla agus maith an rud é sin, bhaid siad in an úsáide bhaint as an RTB agus is maith an rud ach cosú le mo cholachaí an seo tá gá le achannaí gáil sa tró sin tá an RTB faoi bhrú damananta faoi láthair níl siad in an deilál ina cásanna atá ó scór an mhabhairt sin so ba gá le tuile achannaí agus ba gá le abhreitnú a dhéanamh ar an mBille seo Honest go mai manatóireacht I gceist an bhfuil sé ag feidhmiú. I won't repeat all that, but I welcome it, this very short bill, and I thank you for your work. And students will only pay for the academic term, and that's to be welcomed. And all the other positive things in it. The RTB is under-resourced, under pressure, constant complaints about it. I don't like to stand here and castigate an organisation or a body, but definitely we're receiving ongoing representations in relation to the delay and all that. And obviously then, if that's the case, rather than giving out, an analysis should be done of what's needed. What resources are needed to fund a body so it can function effectively rather than us giving out about it. And just while I have the opportunity, and I spoke, I think, when Deputy Farrell brought her motion before the Dáil, I think last week, or I've lost track, and I'm sort of repeating, but I've got the opportunity to repeat. I didn't realise I was going to be speaking on this section, and I think it's important for once to repeat that we cannot deal with student accommodation crisis in isolation. It is just not possible. The crisis did not happen overnight. It's been created. You know that, Minister. I know you inherited a situation. It was market-driven for a long time. I watched in desperation as a local councillor. I watched as the Carrick Great Southern, I didn't just watch, I spoke out but got nowhere, when the Carrick Great Southern was sold off by Bertie Ahern, actually, after a promise that he wouldn't. But right beside what was then the GMIT, it's been demolished since. But obvious to take it over, have a bridge across and use it as student accommodation, it didn't happen. So over and over and over we threw it onto the market. The university was a disgrace. I'm on record for saying it was a disgrace, as was most universities. There was a huge improvement with the new president, Farir Toshe Gairias Revam. Unfortunately, the new president, who made a big change on every level, is leaving, not prematurely, leaving earlier to do other things. No attempt made to build accommodation on campus, doing a deal with a school to transfer up there, and terrible decisions rather than using the land that they had to build student accommodation, funded by the state, money given to the universities to build so that there would be affordable rent for students so everyone can participate. And we have created an utter horror on the ground. You know that, Minister. And then when we get details like the Deputy Marion, Deputy Gobaleshkin, Mary Harkin has referred to in terms of 100 million announcement, but no details of that. And I watch in horror because we've seen this with the primary care centres. We've seen the primary care centres being built ostensibly for the public, but not at all. The only part the public get to play is to pay the money over to a private contractor so that they can lease it back to us for 25 years or whatever term. No public buildings. We're gaining no public buildings. And I'm in dread that that's exactly what we're doing. And I've tabled a series of questions. I was impressed, maybe foolishly or naively, might be a better word, when the current Taoiseach was a minister, that he was going to build or facilitate the building of student accommodation, public buildings on public land. That's not what's happening. And it's very difficult to follow the intricate trade of the arrangements that are being made by the market. So we've learned nothing. The market is a disaster when it's left unregulated and when there's no balancing of it with the state. We know this from the privatisation of the refuse services in Galway and elsewhere. We know it from the privatisation of refuse all over the country, all over the world. And I've mentioned Toronto. I've mentioned the unions campaign, who stood idly by, I might add, some of them, when all of this was being privatised, who have a campaign going, which I fully support, to re-municipalise all of these essential services. But it became a bad word, didn't it? Public service became a bad word. Jobs in tech were lauded and praised, and jobs and public bodies were down. Remember all those debates at the time of the crisis where we looked down, or were not looked down, we were encouraged to disparage the public service. Absolutely make it more efficient. But we must have public service, we must resource it, and we must have policies for government that recognise, and I'm going to repeat it over and over, that certain services are absolutely essential in a civilised society and in a republic. Public education in public buildings, public housing on public land. The prices that we're hearing for affordable houses is just bananas. And I'll finish because it resonated with me what Deputy Canny said in terms of infrastructure and regional development. Carraroe has no sewage treatment plant. The raw sewage is going straight into the sea. I'm elected since 1999 as city councillor, and I've been watching again with utter despair. And Irish Water inherited that. They went with a site that wasn't suitable, and now they're left. There can't be balanced regional development without infrastructure. Similarly, Galway City, that we refer to the Ardon corridor, I was there as a city councillor when that was done. No progress, absolutely no progress. And I've raised it before, the lack of infrastructure. We can't have balanced regional development. And then we have the absence of trains. And we're all on this side of the house absolutely imploring you to run the rail. They laughed and laughed. Do you remember that? The various people, I won't say their names, on RTE saying, oh, it'll never work. And it's a huge success down to Limerick, an absolute huge success. But those same people are not coming back and saying, we were wrong. And they're still putting obstacles in the rolling out of the full rail. I'm over time, so I'll stop. Thank you, Chair.